Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a fairly obscure movie, and we are back into 1971. There are a couple more 1970 movies that I want to do, but they're part of large series, so I'm going to have to do more homework before I get to them, and it'll take a while. So, back to 1971, this obscure one popped up. It came out early in the year, February. It's called Guess What Happened to Count Dracula. And if you know me, you know I have a soft spot for vampire movies, especially Dracula movies. So, I think there were like 12 or 14 vampire movies in 1970, and this is like the 10th or 11th one in 1971. The most popular horror subgenre of the day. And this film was written, directed, and produced by Lawrence Merrick, who, somewhat unfortunately, only ever did 2 films. His first one was called Black Angels, also known as Black Bikers from Hell. Black Angels featured almost a completely unknown cast, almost. It was basically about 2 biker gangs, one that was white and one that was black. Although the white biker gang was not racist, there was major beef between the white gang and the black gang. In fact, like a probate for the black biker gang, which was called the Choppers, was basically trying to get in good with the gang, and so he ended up trying to kill the leader of the white gang. The leader was played by Des Roberts, who also ends up playing the vampire in the next movie. And basically, the leader, whose name was Chainer in the movie, Des Roberts plays Chainer, called that because he beats people up with a giant chain, spares this black guy, and then the black guy tries to kill him anyway. I don't think they gave him a name. That's why I'm referring to him as that. He's here on the, you can see him. He's trying to jump over some kind of chasm, ends up dying, and even after trying to kill Chainer takes his cut and brings it back to his gang and says, like, yo, here's this cut. You probably don't want the police to find out what your boy was doing. And regardless of that, the Choppers just make it their life's mission to destroy Chainer's gang. So anyway, not that deep of a movie, but it was fun. Not the best biker movie from the era I've seen, but it was worth a watch anyway. There was some weird stuff in it. Actually, you know what? I just noticed it now. There's a swastika on this bike, but it is very clearly made known in the movie that the biker gang is not racist. Although there was one racist character who was actually pretending to be racist, which is weird, who shows up and basically wants to join Chainer's gang. And they let him in, but they tell him like he has to stop being racist to be in the gang. But he pretends to be racist, and it turns out he was a double agent working for the Choppers, even though he was white. That didn't really make a lot of sense. I did not realize there was a swastika on this poster. The poster is, and the name of it and everything is definitely trying to play the whole race angle, which at the time was just the beginning of the blaxploitation genre. I think this would be, let's see, this is 1970. That's pretty much the beginning of it. So, I don't know, kind of weird. The movie was also distributed by Lawrence Merrick. So it was written, directed, produced, and distributed all by Lawrence Merrick, one guy. He only made these 2 movies. And I just got to point out there is a panther in this movie that Chainer's gang is like keeping as a pet, but then when it gets loose, it only kills the white bikers, which is kind of strange. Because like they were like its master or whatever. Anyway, maybe they weren't treating it good. I just got to point out, if you look over here at these 4 actors, okay, we have Des Roberts first. Second, we have this guy who in the movie is called Frenchie, and you can't really tell here, but underneath his cut, he's wearing a ridiculous, like, silk, baggy, plumey shirt that I guess, like, a French, like, pirate would have worn or something like that. And this guy is insane. He's only in 3 movies, but apparently he had a bit part in the 3rd Austin Powers movie. And his teeth make him look like an absolute madman. You can't see him in the poster here. He's in the green. And then the guy in the blue is barely in the movie at all. And then the guy in the yellow is probably the most not probably, but definitely the most well-known actor in the entire movie, because that guy played Jupiter, Papa Jupiter, in the original The Hills Have Eyes. And he was in a bunch of other stuff too. But his most well-known part is for being in The Hills Have Eyes. He was the leader of the mutant family in The Hills Have Eyes. Now that came out 7 years after this. So this was actually one of his earliest roles, even though he's got gray in his beard. I guess he got a late start. Also, I just noticed, I don't know what this is. There's like a seahorse right here. Has nothing to do with the movie. And like, I don't think it's like the Merrick logo or anything. It says down here, produced and directed by Lawrence Merrick. And it says here, a Merrick International film. So anyway, that's Black Angels. It's fun. Next, and last, we have Guess What Happened to Count Dracula, which Count Dracula's not even in the movie, okay? We have actually the son of Dracula, whose name is Adrian, okay? And Adrian is in the modern day of 1971, and he runs a restaurant / nightclub. And the plot isn't super deep, but basically this guy brings his girlfriend to the club for dinner, and Dracula wants the girl, and Adrian wants the girl, and so the whole rest of the time is Adrian basically like seducing this woman. He goes to her house, he hypnotizes her, she allows him to, and basically he bites her. It's the whole vampire deal. But I do give it a 7 out of 10, which is probably higher than almost anyone else would give it, because there's a lot of craziness, and it held my interest the entire time. So I give it a 7 out of 10. It also features a large snake, possibly a python, or maybe a boa constrictor. I'm not a snake expert. It also features a live tiger, and I don't know how they got this. There's a giant tiger in this movie, and at one point, the main girl is in some kind of hypnotized stupor, and she goes and tries to cuddle with it, and it puts its giant paws all over her while she's lying down, and basically lays on top of her, which to me is crazy. There's also a scene where a man eats a lizard. For no apparent reason, there is a gorilla in the movie, although unfortunately it's not a real gorilla, it's someone in a gorilla suit, but it's just in a cage. So they decided to have a man in a gorilla suit in a cage. There's also a whole bunch of weird, monstery type people at the beginning of the movie who pal around with Adrian, but most of them aren't in most of the rest of the movie. The fangs in it look really funny. There's a female vampire who's jealous at the beginning of the movie, but doesn't really appear later. No one would give this a 7 out of 10 except for me, I feel like. There's a rival vampire who gets locked in a cage, and even though he cannot go outside during the day, and crosses make him very uncomfortable, it is stated in this movie by a weird gypsy tarot card reader that vampires can only be killed by a stake through the heart. Now, none of that really spoils it because it's all visual. You just have to see it. I'm going to give you one quick spoiler here. You can watch this for free on YouTube, by the way, because it's so obscure that, I don't think anyone has the rights for it. Well, that's probably not true, but no one is actively trying to make money off this movie at all. The last time it was released was on DVD by Something Weird in 2002. So that was 20 years ago. Black Angels is actually on Tubi. So you can watch Black Angels officially, legally, for free on Tubi. You can watch this on YouTube. I don't think anyone would be mad. Anyway, here's the spoiler. They basically kind of bite the Rosemary's Baby plot twist, because at the end you find out the girl's boyfriend actually brought her there because he agreed to sell her to Adrian in order to get various auditions to be a TV actor in Hollywood. So, well, that tells us also this takes place in Los Angeles. I think that's directly the exact plot twist from Rosemary's Baby, other than there being like a cult. But the whole boyfriend like selling the girlfriend thing is, oh, sorry if you've never seen Rosemary's Baby, but you should. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It was really fun. Oh, one more thing. It felt very much like an Al Adamson movie. And Al Adamson, you may remember, did Dracula versus Frankenstein. And I had read this thing that some like horror critic had said that the guy who played Dracula in Dracula versus Frankenstein gave us the worst portrayal of Dracula in all cinema. But I bet you that guy hasn't seen Guess What Happened to Count Dracula. Although technically this is Adrian, Dracula's son. It's basically the same thing. Although I'm not saying it's necessarily worse. Des Roberts did okay. Des Roberts, who played Dracula and who also played Chainer, also did all the music for this movie, and the music was pretty good. So all in all, I liked it. I respect it. I probably respect it more than most because most people would say this is garbage. But it was fun garbage. So enjoy, and I'll see you next time.